Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. Well, it's Christmas Eve. I don't know how many of you will listen to this today. Some of you may listen to it later. But I wanted to take a special day to wind up the story of the birth of Jesus. Now, logically, you would think I'd be talking about the actual birth, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk about a couple of days afterwards. Because as we approach this special day, and it is a special day for you and for me and for all Christians across the country and the world and for all mankind, not just Christians. This is the day when history changed. And it changes in ways that no one could ever have imagined. And still is true today. When we meet that little baby, our lives are different. And so let's read this. Here's what it says. Chapter 2 of Luke, verse 16. They, that's the shepherds, I mentioned those previously, they hurried to the village and found Mary and Joseph. And there was the baby, lying in a manger. After seeing him, the shepherds told everyone what had happened and what the angel had said to them about this child. All who heard the shepherd's story were astonished. But Mary kept all these things in her heart and thought about them often. The shepherds went back to their flocks, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen. It was just as the angel had told them. Well, in the last couple of days, we talked about the shepherds and their part in this story. And here we get to the point where now they're going to do something. They've heard, they've listened, and that's time to act. And you know, that's kind of like us. We've heard, we've listened. It's not time we do something. It's not just good enough to hear God's word or believe in a God or believe in Jesus. It's important to do something about it. Do something with your life. Maybe to help other lives. But it's not just to make you feel good. It's to help change the world. And the shepherds started that process. It says they went to the village and they found Mary and Joseph. I don't know whether they were hard to find or not. I mean, Bethlehem's not a very big place. And I'm sure word got around that somebody had a baby in a stable. I mean, geez, people like to gossip today. I'm sure they gossiped in their day. And they weren't into anything bad. It's just that's kind of, shall we say, different news. But they found him. I don't know how hard they had to look. Bible doesn't tell us that. But they found him. And said, there were Mary and Joseph and the baby laying in the manger. The baby. See, all that we think about with Jesus is the man Jesus, his miracles, his life, his sermons, his death, his resurrection. It's hard to think about Jesus as this little, vulnerable baby lying in a manger. Now the shepherds had been told this great thing has happened and this great thing was going to happen. And when they got there, they found him. The Son of God as a little baby. Now, I don't have a lot of experience around little babies. I'm not really a baby person. I know some are. My wife is. And they just ooh and ah and all that. And I'm not able to see that. I just don't. So I try to understand these shepherds when they saw this baby. I don't know whether he was smiling, whether he was asleep. I don't know if you picked up his hand and tickled his fingers, if he laughed. I don't know whether he kicked his feet. I don't know any of that. But I do know that the shepherds knew they had found the one they had come to seek. And then it goes on and says that after that, after they'd seen and heard this, they went about telling everybody what they'd seen and the story of all the angels. Here's the first incident of people sharing the good news of Jesus. The shepherds, the guys that didn't count in society, they started this thing in ways they never understood. You see, God works in ways we'll never understand. Sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes it's not. You gotta believe that these shepherd guys, in spite of everything, looked at that baby and wondered, really? Is this how God is going to change the world? Well, they were so excited with being a part of God's work. They just had to tell people. And it says that everybody they told were also astonished. You see, when God starts to do incredible things, people listen. Maybe they listen out of curiosity. Maybe they listen out of desperation. Maybe they just listen because it's so amazing. So today, the day before Christmas, what are you going to be doing? It says here that afterwards, the shepherds went back to what they've been doing. They went back to their regular life. I'm sure they kept telling people. Everybody came along. I'm sure they told them about them. I'm sure they couldn't help but tell them. It was such an amazing, amazing experience. And when we look, even in the smallest places, in this case, in the form of a little baby, and see the power of God at work, changes our lives. But we have to be willing to be like the shepherds. First off, we have to listen to the story. And secondly, we have to do something about what we're told. We got to move. We got to do some changes. We got to rethink some things. Then we've got to make a step in the direction of God. And then afterwards, we got to tell other people. See, this is the model for sharing the good news. You don't have to have all the theological questions answered. All the shepherds knew were what the angels told them and what they saw. That's it. Nothing more. And by sharing that little bit, people were astounded. So, tonight and tomorrow, I hope you'll think about the birth of Jesus. I hope you think about how he changes lives. And I hope you will invite him to change yours. If you've already done that in the past, great. Ask him to continue to do it. If you haven't done it, it might make a great Christmas effort. Well, thanks so much for listening these last 2 weeks. Thanks for giving me a chance to bless your Christmas time. If you have a need or a concern, let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas tomorrow. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.